Thanks for taking the time out of your extremely busy winemaking schedule.
Thank you for having me.
Where are you in the wine process right now? I'm hoping to hear some warm weather stories because I just heard we're getting a foot of snow tomorrow here in Boston.
No warm weather stories for you at the moment. Everything from 2011 is now either in tank or barrel and put to bed and awaiting its time. So another year in barrel or so, and things will get put into bottle. So right now it's kind of off to tour while it sleeps.
How many seasons is this now that you've gone through winemaking?
If you count the planting, the initial breaking ground and getting all that together since 2002, so almost 10 years.
What are the biggest lessons you've learned in the last 10 years that maybe you thought you knew what you were getting into 10 years ago, and now you look back and say, oh, we didn't know anything?
We initially thought that northern Arizona we would have problems with heat, and it turns out that we were having more problems with cold.
Just as expected as a snowstorm on Halloween weekend here in Boston, I guess.
True.
Are you scheduling all the touring now around all of the work at the Vineyard?
Yes.
So how did you find time to record the Puscifer album in there?
Well, we did that mostly in the spring, because everything is being handled by my vineyard crew that do all the pruning and the fruit thinning and training and whatnot. That's all happening in the vineyard, so I'm more of the winery guy. I'm kind of in the bunker being mad scientist, so there's plenty of time to write and record during the spring.
I've seen a few YouTube videos from some different wine vlogs and stuff, and it really seems like you're being embraced by the wine community. Was that a surprise to you?
Well, with wine, it's there's definitely a hierarchy of expectations, but when you open a bottle and you don't tell somebody where it's from, and they try it, if they have a palate, if they know what they're talking about, and they have some experience, they can't really deny that there's something happening in Arizona. So the truth is in the bottle is kind of our little cliche. So that's been easy to convince critics and wine snobs that there's something going on in Arizona just by pouring them the wine blind.
Which it's kind of what California had to do with the international wine community way back in the day.
Yep. And that's how they jumped that hurdle. They basically said, okay, then let's do this. And they did a blind tasting and won. So, and that's kind of what we're doing with some of the Arizona wines. We're doing really well.
I know you're taking a lot of inspiration from Arizona and from that whole geographic area for Puscifer. Can you explain to me the different writing process and the different inspiration process for all the different projects that you have?
Just everything is a different conversation with a different group of people in a different year. So no matter when, if you tried to write the same song in 4 different years, it's going to come out 4 different ways, depending on where you are in your life and who you're dealing with.
When you were putting the Puscifer tour together, because when you look at the credits, there's so many different moving parts, how do you guys logistically go about taking all that stuff and making it logistically possible to take on the road and set up and tear down in the same day in different venues?
You basically have to take one step at a time. That's pretty much the only way to do it. Planning, paying attention to what works. That's pretty much it.
When it comes to the touring musicians as opposed to everybody that worked on the album, is it the same, or did you have to make changes?
Generally speaking, our core group of people is, Matt Mitchell and myself and Josh Eustace, Green Around, Jeff Friedel and Matt McJunkins for the most part. And we have, the musicians that might come and go depending on the city. But logistically, we tried to take out everybody last time, and that didn't work out too well, just too many people.
I talked to Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction last week and asked him his recording style with a lot of the digital capabilities as compared to, say, Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters going into a garage and going all analog. Where does your view on technology and recording sit? Well,
unless you're an absolute audiophile geek, I could tell you that this thing was recorded all analog, and you would believe me. So I think at the end of the day, if you can afford to do analog these days, great. We can't, because it's very expensive. It's a long process and tedious. And at the end of the day, when you have people listening to it as an MP3 through earbuds, I'm not sure why people would bother with the analog. We do. We take extra steps to make sure that it sounds the best it can possibly be. When we put out we put out vinyl, so we have a full range of sounds, and we always get our stuff mastered through Gateway with Bob Ludwig, because he's the sonic genius. But for the most part, for the untrained ear, I would challenge almost anybody to your average person to tell the difference between analog and digital.
There seems to be a huge resurgence, at least up here regionally, with like Newbury Comics, where vinyl is just becoming the cool medium all over again, and they're selling a ton of vinyl. Bands like you guys are printing vinyl. Do you listen to it at home still?
Yeah, I have 2 turntables, and definitely, yeah, I still have all my old vinyl from when I purchased it in high school. I have, I don't know, 1,000 records.
What would people be surprised that you have on vinyl in your collection? Because there's some embarrassing stuff in my vinyl collection.
Steve Martin Brothers.
I think everybody has that.
Yeah, the one where he plays banjo on one side and he does the comedy on the other.
Yeah.
That's an awesome album. If I could take a second and thank Newbury Comics for their support. We are, and record stores like that are independent stores, because this is a completely independent project. You won't find us at Best Buy or Target. This is a straight up, we're on our own. We're not, other than people like you, we don't really get a lot of radio support. So we like to thank people like that are kind of still keeping it real with the vinyl and, doing the indie store.
Regionally, we're very lucky to have Newbury Comics up here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you're bringing Puscifer to the Orpheum on November 22nd. All of the ticket information is up at WAAF.com. And I put out on Facebook and on Twitter, which I've noticed you're very active on. I was asking people for some questions, so can I run down a couple of them before I let you go?
Sure.
I don't know if this woman is spying on you through your windows, but she said if you have elevators in your house, which I guess she knows you do you have a fire evacuation plan?
If I have elevators in my house, that's just crazy talk.
The way she said it made it sound like she knew it for a fact. That's why I asked.
And that's why people should stay on their meds.
A few people actually wanted me to ask you about how your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu training was going.
Haven't really had time.
Which leads me to a question that I have about the conditions of my parole video. What did you eat in training for those midriff shots in that video?
Popcorn and beer. Because it tends to just completely bloat your stomach out, and I kind of went overboard with it just to make sure that we made that the effect was fully felt.
No woman would ever allow herself to be recorded on video, especially HD video, from some of the angles in that video.
Oh yeah, we're sporting it. We have no problem with it.
The ghost towns that are out around your vineyard, somebody wanted me to ask you if you've had any kind of strange experiences just kind of roaming around out there.
Yes.
Do you want to elaborate at all or no?
No, generally it's just like, hippies broken down in their Volkswagen Bugs. It's always odd that they would still drive them.
Oh, so it's not like any kind of ghost encounters. It's scary hippie encounters.
It's ghost in that it kind of seems like, what year is this? Time machine thing. Come on, hippie.
Do you dress up for Halloween since you dress up so much for your regular job? And if so, what's the best Halloween costume you've ever worn?
I guess you'll have to look and see on Monday night on David Letterman.
Aha! Okay.
And that was a huge hint. We're all going nude. we found a way around the FCC. We're just going to all be nude.
Did you get pixelated thong bathing suits or something? I don't want to know. I'll wait for the surprise.
See?
All right, and a couple, speaking of the hippies, a couple of political questions before I let you go. One person wanted me to know how you feel on the Occupy movement.
I have no idea what that means.
All of the Occupy Wall Street protests that are going around, not only in New York, but kind of all around the country now.
And see, now you're asking an artist, a rock dude without a degree, about politics. That's just silly.
All right, what about this political question? Do you believe in legalizing marijuana?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, regulating it, of course, but yes, making it, decriminalizing it, absolutely.
Gotcha. Well, Maynard, I really appreciate you taking the time to call today, and thanks for answering some of the fans' questions as well. The only question I have left, which is the only question I feel like I always have to ask you because everybody wants to know, is what's going on with Tool?
I just had a baby. My undercarriage is sore and swollen. I'm not looking to be f***ing right now.
Perfect answer. Thank you so much.
Thank you.